Okay, so what are some other things that you've seen? You mentioned kind of some taxes. You mentioned maybe cash versus accrual. What are some other things that you've seen that owners have done? And I like to say unknowingly because a lot of times owners are doing things they don't know it's hurting their value, it's hurting the ability to get deals done. What are some other things that
Yeah.
you've seen them do that you're like, hey guys, if you just stop this, more of your deals would close?
Yeah. So I'll give one that's a little bit kind of off the fairway, if you will, and not one that people would necessarily think about. I would say one is to the degree that you're really the linchpin of driving the organization from like a revenue and business development standpoint, that kind of bites you in the ass when you go to sell. Because if you think about it, like if you're the buyer and you're looking at buying the company and you're like, okay, I lose Ryan, I'm screwed. All of a sudden, you're trying to figure out, okay, is there a number two person in the organization that can teach you the industry, teach you the know how, things like that? Because one thing, Ryan, is if you're buying all of a company, doing a complete acquisition with SBA financing, the seller cannot stay in the business for more than a year after closing. I don't know why specifically that guideline is applicable. I kind of have my own views on it, but that's a whole different conversation.
Say that again just to make sure everyone heard that right.
Yeah. If I buy your business and I'm a business buyer using SBA financing and I'm buying all of your company, you're not retaining any ownership. After 1 year from today, you have to be gone. And so
Which is
back to
risky,
the,
right? Which is
which
risky
is,
if
it's
if
crazy.
if if, if going back to your point, if you are everything, then
Yeah.
you have to be gone.
Right.
Then and listen, I've heard some banks say, "Well, we don't really, that's the rule. We don't really check in, but you don't know what
Right.
you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you're playing
Right.
safe, you don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Then assume a
Right.
year you're out. And if you're a buyer, you
Right.
definitely want to play it safe. So
Yeah.
a year you're out.
So,
Like it's a big deal.
yeah. So but what was the original question again? Sorry, I don't want to ramble too
Oh no
far
no no!
from
Just
the,
things that owners are doing
yeah.
that can hurt the deal. And you were talking about owner dependency and how that
Right.
can hurt the deal, and that this is why.
Yeah. So what you're probably doing as a seller that you're not thinking about is you're being too critically involved in the business. So if you have other people in the company that have potential that can, enable you to take a vacation, enable the business to operate more autonomously, you want to lead those people up to operate at their highest and best potential so that you basically have a company that can run without you. So this is actually kind of a very contemporary and interesting time to have this conversation because right now I'm currently out on paternity leave, and my chief operating officer is doing a phenomenal job at running the business. But going back to like May of 2022 is just me. And so it's like you go from being a one person organization to having a team. And so, kind of taking this full circle back to this conversation, if you're selling your company and you can't envision the buyer being able to run it without you because you have all the SOPs, everything in your head, you're screwed, honestly. You don't have a saleable business because they can look at the earnings and they can look at the financials, but you drove all of that basically, right?
Yeah, and
And
it's not even the SBA size deal. I talked to an owner one time. They're doing 30 million in rev, and he's like, "Well, if I go away, the company goes under." I'm like,
right,
well,
right,
who's going to pay for a $30 million business
right.
anything? Because
Yeah,
you're saying if you leave, and this was an older gentleman too, so like closer to death than birth. He's in his
right.
60s or 70s. It's like, brother,
Yeah.
you can't say that. And so I
So
don't.
there's
But well, go ahead. Yeah.
so there's kind of a solution back to that, which is so like back when the SBA guidelines changed last year, if you want to be able to stay on in the business for more than a year, so say again, Ryan, I'm buying your company, I'm coming from corporate America, I don't know your industry, and I look at the fact that you're such a critical part of the business that I want you to stay on for longer than a year, that's fine, but then you have to retain equity. Now, not only do you have to retain equity, if you're retaining below 20%, you have to personally guarantee my SBA loan for 2 years. So if I run your business into the ground and if the ship sinks, we're both going down the Titanic together. But if you believe in me as a buyer and you want economic upside during that period of time, maybe we become Siamese twins at the hip and work having the recourse together. So that's kind of like a bridge solution to this. Now, I have not candidly seen any deals get done with the seller doing the 2-year personal guarantee as far as I'm aware. I have heard that they have gotten done. I think Bruce Marks at First Bank of the Lake, shout out to Bruce, may have tweeted or posted about one getting done. But essentially, it's a huge risk, right? Because if we don't know each other, I'm coming in to have majority control and operate the company, and you're going to get, like economic upside if things go well and I buy out your equity at a higher valuation in a few years from now. But the question is like, how much probability do you allocate to that scenario if I've never run your business before?